Hello, ladies and Mr. O'Sullivan. Today you're going to be looking at Lesson 3-8C, the Pythagorean Theorem word problems. Just a reminder, tomorrow you have a quiz that you'll be able to work with partners on. Today's learning target is, I can apply the Pythagorean Theorem to determine the value of a missing segment length on a right triangle. So, just like yesterday, the Pythagorean Theorem is a theorem that you have to memorize. It says that if a triangle is a right triangle, then the square of the length of the longest side is equal to the sum of the squares of the length of the other two sides, the legs. What that basically means is a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So where a and b are your legs and c is your hypotenuse. So for instance, I can draw like a right triangle like this. I'm gonna make it a little nicer. Good, just making sure my microphone's on. I can draw my right angle, and then I can label my sides. So I can do like A, B, and C. Now remember that C is always across from that right angle. Now, word problems. Pythagorean theorem is big with word problems because there's just so many things that we can do with it. This is actually like a good practice for your performance task that we're going to be doing on Friday. So, example, a certain television is advertised as a 34-inch TV, the diagonal length. If the width of the TV is 30 inches, how many inches tall is the TV? So, step one says draw a visual and label the sides of your image. So what we're going to do is we're going to draw a TV, which is basically just like a rectangle. I mean, it's not going to be perfect, but like that is actually not good whatsoever. Let me redo that. Perfect. So here's our TV, right? It's not the greatest. It's a 34-inch TV, and we know that's our diagonal length. So I'm going to basically draw in my diagonal, just like that, and I put my 34 right here. If you look, I have a right triangle because I have a right angle right here. So I know that if I were to look across, this is a C value. Step 2 says identify your A, B, and C values, and then substitute into your Pythagorean theorem. Well, we know that the width of the TV is 30 inches. So I'm going to make that my width. So I have my 30. And I don't know what this is, so I'm going to put a question mark. It says identify your A, B, and C, then substitute in. So if I look at this, I can say that 30 is my A, and then my question mark is my B. So I can do A squared plus b squared equals c squared. And I can make my substitution, so I have 30 squared plus b squared equals my c value of 34 squared. Now this is just substitutions. Step 3 says, now solve for the missing side length as you would a regular equation. Make sure that you use inverse operations. Do not forget to square root at the very, very end. So now we're going to simplify this. What is 30 squared? Well, if I use my calculator, I know that 30 squared is 900. So I have 900 plus b squared equals 34 squared. I have no idea what that is, so I'm going to type it into my calculator. And when I do, I get 1156. Now, what is my next step in solving this equation? I subtract 900 from both sides of my equation. So I subtract, cancel, and I get b squared equals, I do 1156 minus 900, and I get 256. Now, as Ms. Colorundo mentioned multiple times yesterday, do not forget to take the square root at the very, very end. So we're going to take the square root of both sides of our equation. When I take the square root of 256, what do you get? I get 16. So I can say that the width, no, sorry, not the width, the length of my TV is 16. And that's how you would approach a word problem. Question number 1. I'm just going to basically like screenshot this real quick. That way we can see our steps come alive every single time. Perfect. Okay, so if we look at question number 1, it says, if you place a 40-foot ladder against the top of a 24-foot building, how many feet will the bottom of the ladder be from the bottom of the building? So if you think about it, we know our building is 24 feet tall. So I'm going to basically draw like a line segment that is 24 feet tall. So I'm drawing my visual right now. Now, my ladder is leaning against it. So if I think about it, this is my ladder right here. And I'm saying that my ladder is 40 feet. I want to figure out the length of my base. or how far away the ladder will be from the bottom of the building. If you look, I have a right angle right here. So if I label my image that says identify your A, your B, and your C values, I know that the side across my right angle is my C, and that means 24 has to be A, and my missing side has to be B. So step 2 says substitute into the Pythagorean theorem. So I have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So our A value is 24, so I have 24 squared plus B squared equals 40 squared. I type this into my calculator, and I get 576 for B, 24 squared. 40 squared is 1600. And then I subtract 576 from both sides of my equation. This will give me, I'm going to make this tinier, that way I have more room to write. 1600 minus 576 is 1024. So I get B squared equals 1024. And now I take the square root of both sides. Square root. So I get B is equal to 32. And that's your final answer. So the ladder is 32 feet from the building. Question number 2. You start driving north for 8 miles, turn right and drive east for another 6 miles. At the end of driving, what is your straight line distance from the starting point? So it's very important that we use this compass to help us. So whenever I see these problems with north, east, south, and west, I just put a dot on my paper. I start driving north. So if I look, I'm going up in this direction. So I'm going to go in this direction. And typically when we talk about like distance, we talk about like this. So I'm going to draw like an arrowhead. So I go north 8. I then drive east 6 miles. So I'm going to go in this direction. I'm going to go in this direction to the right. And I have 6. Now I want to find out what this missing piece is right here. If you look, I have a right angle right here. So this is my C. So this is my A, and this is my B. Now I'm going to substitute the Pythagorean theorem. So I have A squared plus B squared equals C squared. We know A is 8, so I have 8 squared. B is 6, and that's equal to C squared. 8 squared is 64. 6 squared is 36, and that's equal to C squared. Combine that 64 and 36, and we get 100, and that's equal to C squared. I now take the square root of both sides, square root, so I can say C is equal to 10. And that's my final answer. So basically, I am 10 miles from my start point. And that's it for today. Don't forget to work on your Delta Math homework.